Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here and you've not subscribed, please do well to subscribe, like and share. And my name is Esther George. So today I have a story to tell you. And last year I purchased a sewing machine and I ordered it. So it came disassembled and it was delivered to my location. And of course you know that I needed to assemble it and couple it together to get it working. So I went to meet my fashion designer to ask her how I could go about that, and she told me that this particular thing required the help of an expert and I couldn't possibly do it myself. So she advised me to go look around and find out from any fashion designer around my area if I could possibly get the contact of someone who does that. So I was lucky enough to get the contact of somebody who does that from a fashion designer on my street. I was given a contact of a man who does that, and I called him and he said he was going to come the next day. So I waited for him. The next day I didn't see him, the second day I didn't see him, the third day I didn't see him. So I grew very impatient and I was very anxious. I wanted to get this thing done. So I decided to do it myself. Something within me told me, Esther, you got this, you can do it and everything. So I went on to watch YouTube videos. I went on to just keep myself in the mood and motivate myself to get this thing done. And I started the journey. I fixed the first leg. It seemed, wow, this thing is easy. I fixed the second leg and it wasn't so firm. I was wondering, is this what I'm going to put the head of my sewing machine on? It was too easy to be true, right? So I was about fixing the pedal when something fell. That fall actually led to the damage of one part. So when that fell, I tried to do it myself again, and I discovered that a part of the machine had broken while the pedal fell off. There's a part of the machine called the pitman crank rod where the pedal is connected to the other part of the machine. And that broke my heart so much. I mean, I was so disturbed. I didn't know how I was going to get that done. Of course, everything I was doing had to stop instantly because the part had broken. So I was so disturbed. And the next day, I walked down to a welder just not far from my house. I was just hoping and wishing that this thing could be done. So I gave it to him. He said, well, it's a 50-50 chance. There's a possibility that he could get it welded, and there's also a possibility that it won't work because a small ball fell off the rod. So that small ball may be difficult to be welded to the other part of the rod. So a lot of thoughts ran through my mind. I began to think of, am I going to get this old part afresh? Is the machine going to be condemned? I was thinking of a lot, and I began to blame myself for not waiting. It was full of regret, pain, anger, and everything. So I have no choice than to wait. I mean, the broken part was now in the welder's workshop. The machine was staring at me. The other part of the sewing machine was staring at me. So all of the impatience I had before disappeared. I had no choice than to wait. So luckily for me, I was so lucky enough, I went back to get the damaged part that I gave to the welder to help me do. I was so lucky he was able to do it and he gave me back. This time around, I was very patient. I waited. I didn't touch any part of that machine. I was so patient. So when this man eventually showed up, I watched him couple this machine from start to finish, and I knew that I couldn't have been able to do that myself. I mean, the damage would have been worse if I had continued, because if I had put the heavier part, which was the head of the sewing machine, on that leg which was not standing firm, I might have probably damaged every other part of that machine. So when he did, he was coupling it. I was so attentive. I paid attention to every detail. And I found out that some screws were meant for particular places on that machine. Some screws were meant for some places. You couldn't just use any screw for any part. And I knew of a truth that only an expert could have done this. So he coupled it in In not so long a time, he did it, and my machine was standing and is still standing till now. And something struck my mind. I learned a lesson from that experience. Sometimes we think that our life has been dissembled for so long, we need to fix this, and we might have called for the help of an expert, and the expert might seem to be coming slowly. Now, when I mean expert, I'm talking about God now. Some people have had their lives on one spot. Some people have been waiting for so many years for one thing or the other, and it seems like God is not forthcoming, and they are at the verge of trying to help themselves out. They are at the verge of trying to fix their lives themselves. I would advise you wait for God, because if you try to do that, you may get broken. I was lucky because the broken part was repaired, right? Some others may not be lucky to have their broken part repaired, and you may cause more damage than you can ever think of. Wait for God. Ask for the help of an expert. Remember, I was advised that only an expert could do that. I went on to take the first step of asking for the help of an expert, but I wasn't patient enough to wait for the expert to come before I tried to fix it myself. Don't try to fix your life. You may be waiting, you may be at different waiting seasons of your life. You may be waiting for a child, waiting for a spouse, waiting for a job, waiting for admission into the university, waiting for a better job. Any part of waiting, any season of waiting you may be on right now, please and please don't be impatient. Wait for God to come fix that life for you. He is your manufacturer. He has all of your spare parts. He knows what screw should be fixed into what part. You don't know. And if you try to do that yourself, you may get broken beyond repair. So that's what my advice for you today. Wait on God. Help comes from God alone, and only God alone. They that wait upon the Lord shall mount up with wings as eagles. Wait on God. And I pray as you adhere to this instruction, the Lord bless you, gives you strength to keep waiting, gives you strength in the waiting season. As long as you have to wait as designed by God, the Lord will give you the strength to wait patiently and not try to help yourself out. God bless you. Till we meet again in our next video. Bye-bye.